What is up, guys? This is Jonathan from the Coruscant Courier. Got some new content for you today. Super excited to share with you our theory on who we think the Jedi is going to be that's going to train Grogu. Who is going to come and find Grogu? What Jedi is it going to be? So we have 9 different ideas of who this is going to be. Some are going to be very popular. Some are going to be rather on the obscure side, some people that oftentimes, well, the typical person wouldn't think of. So let's get right to it. Who is going to search out Grogu? Who appeared to him in the Force and is going to train him? We'll start with the popular ideas. Theory number 1, it could be Ezra Bridger. And the reason we think this is because Ahsoka recently, in a couple episodes ago of Mandalorian, just fought someone, as you all know, Elsbeth, fought Elsbeth, and Ahsoka said to her, "Tell me where your master, Grand Admiral Thrawn, is." So we know that Thrawn is alive, and the last time he was spotted was with Ezra Bridger. So we kind of are seeing a connection that maybe Ezra Bridger is going to be this Jedi that ultimately finds Plo Koon. Very possible. Other than that, we really don't have any other evidence. We're really going completely off of that, but it would be an incredible bridge for Favreau and Filoni. They could bridge what they did in Star Wars Rebels with The Mandalorian. It would be a great touch. We'll see if it happens. I'm not convinced it's going to be Ezra. At least he's not going to be the Jedi that trains Grogu, but I do think we will see him in the series. Number 2, Mace Windu. This has been speculated for a while, especially since Samuel L. Jackson had talked with George Lucas, I believe it's about 5 years back now, and he told George Lucas, "I really think Mace Windu could have survived." George Lucas replied and said, "Sure, it could have happened." Now, we don't really know to the extent of whether Lucas really intended to save Windu or not, but Samuel L. Jackson does want to return as Mace Windu. I would just say out of the likely theories, let me say this. I'd say out of the popular theories, this was probably one that I would say is unlikely. And I'm going to give 2 reasons why I don't think it's Mace Windu. Now, yes, you're right. Darth Maul did survive an incredible fall. It's completely true. There's almost no way he could have survived. But Maul was merely chosen to survive because many people felt like they underused him, so they kind of gave him an out. I don't think that is what we're going to get with Mace Windu, since he played such a prominent role in the first 3 movies, episodes 1, 2, and 3. And it kind of goes into the idea that if you watch the death scene of Mace Windu, yes, sure, you could survive getting your arm cut off, but most people would argue that Mace Windu died before he fell. You literally can see the life leave his eyes, and he lets out a final moan, and you can see the life leave his eyes as Palpatine is absolutely destroying him with Force lightning. So that would be reason number 1. I don't think Mace Windu could have survived, and then of course falling hundreds of thousands of stories into Coruscant, I just don't see how that's possible. And the second reason is because in Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7, we see this dialogue with Ahsoka as she is about to try to go capture Maul, and her and Mace Windu are entering into a meeting along with Yoda and the rest of the Jedi Council, and Ahsoka was asked the question, "Did you do this as a Jedi?" She's like, "No, I simply just did this as a citizen." She was being a good citizen to the Republic. Well, about 30 seconds later, Mace Windu would not tell her any of their plans and said, I quote, "citizen." He called her a citizen. I truthfully believe, with everything that I am, that Dave Filoni was putting the final nail in the coffin in Mace Windu. I don't think he's coming back. He honestly made everyone hate Mace Windu even more than they already do. Not that he's not a great character, and Samuel L. Jackson is fantastic, but Mace Windu is arrogant, along with Coyote Mundi, and quite honestly, they deserve to die. They truthfully deserve to die, and I believe that was the final nail in the coffin. And I think that was Filoni telling us he's not coming back. And he kind of got what he deserved. Hate to say it, but it's true. So I think those two reasons alone, the way that he treated Ahsoka and just the way that he died, the likelihood of him actually coming back to train Grogu after all this time, 35 years. I mean, I guess we're approaching 35 years. I find that very unlikely, but it's a popular theory. Let's go with theory number 3. Theory number 3 is Cal Kestis. Of course, if all of you have played the infamous new Star Wars video game with Cal Kestis, you would completely understand why this is possible. Because in Jedi Fallen Order, Cal Kestis was a Jedi who survived the Purge. Cal Kestis survived the Purge. Despite his master dying, he was able to survive. And of course, he ends up having a duel with Vader way later on in the game. And we know that he's alive. So it's possible that they could implement Cal Kestis. I don't think it's likely. I don't really think his character has enough development for them just to put him into some sort of enormous production. But it's within the realm of possibility. We know that he's alive. So Cal Kestis is possible because, according to the canon, he's alive at this point. The fourth one, of course, is Luke. This is out of the popular theories. Luke Skywalker has got to be in the conversation because it's been 5 years since he has defeated Vader and the Empire has essentially been destroyed. Of course, there's some sleeper cells still alive, such as Moff Gideon's cell. But for the most part, we know that the Empire has been defeated and Luke was going to rebuild the Jedi Temple and rebuild the Jedi Order. So it would make sense that Luke would potentially be someone who will find Grogu out in the Force and bring him back to train him. Now, of course, we haven't really gotten any indication that it will be Luke, but we can assume with reason that there's a quite a good possibility that this could be Luke Skywalker, and we'll get to see him make an appearance. So those are the popular ideas. Ezra, Mace Windu, Cal Kestis, and Luke Skywalker. Those 4 are the most common theories. But I will tell you, despite them being the most common, I do not feel they're the most likely. I'm going to do 4 more that I believe are very likely. It's going to be one of these 4 characters. I truthfully believe this. Not that we're not going to see the other 4 I just mentioned. I do believe we're going to see Ezra Bridger. I do think it's possible we'll see Cal Kestis and we'll see Luke Skywalker. I think Mace Windu is unlikely. But out of those 4, I think 3 of those 4 are likely that we will see them. But who's going to be the one that finds Grogu in the Force? Because we know from what was said by Ahsoka that Grogu had multiple masters back at the Jedi Temple, back before the Purge. So I'm actually going to name to you some Jedi that potentially could have trained him that we think are alive and that could end up training him. So you've already heard my Plo Koon is alive video. I know that you guys loved it. And of course, what we thought was going to happen in Clone Wars didn't happen. We never saw Order 66. We never saw Plo Koon die. We never saw him live, as well as the rest of the Jedi. But there's something important that we did not see in Clone Wars, and that's the fact that Ahsoka did not feel Plo Koon die. That's huge. Ahsoka did not feel him die. So if she didn't feel him die, chances are he is alive. And remember, Keldorians can live to be hundreds of years old, so Plo Koon is probably in his mid-70s to 80s at this point. So if he did survive, he very well could have been one of the Jedi that trained Grogu as a youngling. And he very well could have been the one that connected with Grogu in the Force. Of course, we have no other indication of that, but we do believe Plo Koon is alive. We're still not going to back down on that claim. And we think that there is a somewhat reasonable probability that Plo Koon could end up appearing in this series, and it would be a fantastic reunion with him and Ahsoka, as we don't believe they have seen each other since the events of Order 66. So this would be huge. And also to see him come back on screen with her, and it could be Plo Koon and Little Soka again. So we do think that there is a decent chance of Plo Koon returning. The next one, this is actually a duo, and the two we are thinking that there's a decent chance it could be them too is Yaddle. If you guys know, the female species of Yoda, she was a Jedi Master, and Oppo Rancisis, who was on the Jedi High Council. Both of them in canon have survived the purge. They never were listed as dying. So we believe that Yaddle and Oppo Rancisis are alive. Now, where are they located? We have no idea. They've never even been mentioned except very briefly in Star Wars The Clone Wars. And Yaddle wasn't even mentioned because Yaddle had actually left somewhere around the timeline of Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. So we don't actually even know where in the world they would be, but according to canon, they are alive. And they would definitely be some obscure characters to bring on screen, but it fits into the canon. And that's what we have to judge on is, okay, does this fit? So Yaddle and Oppo Rancisis, we also could have a good backstory with Yaddle. Maybe Grogu is Yoda's son, and Yaddle is the mother, or Yaddle had a kid, and that's why she left the councils because she actually did have a kid, and they're trying to set us up for that because canon says that she left the council. So we don't know. These are just speculations, but it does make sense. The next one, number 7, Quinlan Vos. Now, Quinlan Vos, of course, is seen in the Clone Wars. He's even mentioned by Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He tells Anakin that Master Vos has advanced his troops. We know that he survives in canon, that he has survived the Purge. It is certainly possible that he is out there, that he could have seen Grogu on the Seeking Stone. We don't really know. Now it is in canon now that Ventress, Quinlan Voss's lover, as you guys know who Ventress is in the series, one of the main villains, at least in the first half of the show, she has died officially in canon, so she is no longer alive. So Quinlan could be anywhere, and he would definitely be a pretty fun one to have in the series. He's very much like Ezra Bridger, too. Number 8. This is my expanded universe. This is my EU prediction. And for all of you EU nerds out there, I know that you guys have kind of been waiting for people like Revan. You want Darth Revan to be canonized. And of course, we kind of got a step closer to that when we had the planet Tython a couple episodes ago in Mandalorian. Tython became canon. And you know the significance of Tython is that's one of the original origins of the Jedi Temple was Tython. And that's kind of where the Jedi started. So they're kind of beginning to recognize this old expanded universe, old-time Knights of the Republic style kind of story, which is big for the Star Wars universe. But there's someone that I think I'm actually very surprised that no one has kind of assumed or at least thought up the idea that Luke's Grand Master in the EU, K-Kruk. If you guys remember who K-Kruk is, he is one of the prominent figures in helping Luke rebuild the new Jedi Order. He is considered a Legends character, but since Disney has been on such a large expanded universe kick, I could actually see them making him canon and bringing him into the Star Wars universe officially, and he will be the one to train Grogu. He could come out of the woodworks. Now, once again, this is completely theory, but I will tell you that if there's an EU character they're going to canonize, it's going to be him, because he's a very popular, prominent figure in the EU novels, in the EU storyline, and he would certainly be a very mysterious character to bring out of the woodwork to train Grogu. And we could maybe even see him reunite with Luke. And of course, they're going to end up having a showdown with Snoke in the future. So, very interesting idea. And so then for the 9th one, this is kind of out there. We were kind of just talking about this for fun. What if a Force ghost begins Grogu's training? What if it's like Anakin's Force Ghost? Now that we know that Hayden Christensen has officially been welcomed back into the series, he's going to be appearing in the Obi-Wan series. Is it possible that Hayden Christensen could not appear as Anakin's Force Ghost to Grogu? Maybe even Yoda as a Force Ghost. We don't know. We're just throwing these things out there. But these are our 9 that we think are legitimately possible. Now, of course, Disney could steer this in an entirely different direction, but I think we've been given so much incredible content by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni so far that I think it will be one of these 9 options. And I will tell you my favorites so far. I would be willing to put the bank on Plokun, Yaddle, K-Kruk, or Ezra Bridger. I think it's going to have to be one of those 4 at this point. But you never know. I think next episode, which is going to air, of course, this Friday, may give us a big hint on that because this is we're getting close to the end of the season. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening, for watching. You guys are awesome. Please like and subscribe us. Follow us because we're going to be posting a whole lot more content. We know that we've been a little behind in the posting category, but life is busy. And as much as we love Star Wars, sometimes we just don't have the time for all the editing and content development. But over the next few months, we're going to have a lot of content uploaded. So please stay tuned. Thank you guys so much. May the Force be with you.